In the annals of ancient history, few names have captivated the imagination quite like the Anunnaki. Legends of these beings span centuries, crossing the boundaries of myth, religion, and even modern conspiracy theories. Were they gods, extraterrestrials, or perhaps something else entirely? In this video, we will journey back to the heart of Mesopotamia, uncovering the mystery of the Anunnaki. Who were they? What role did they play in the ancient world, and what might they reveal about humanity's past? Let's begin our exploration of the Anunnaki, the enigmatic figures who are central to the myths and mysteries of ancient Sumer, Akkad, Babylonia, and Assyria. The Anunnaki, often depicted as gods or divine beings in ancient texts, are some of the most intriguing figures in Sumerian mythology. The word Anunnaki is thought to derive from the Sumerian term Anu, the name of the sky god, and Naki, which means offspring or descendants. Together, the term roughly translates to offspring of Anu, or those who came from heaven. But the Anunnaki were not a single group or entity. Instead, they were a collective of deities with different roles, responsibilities, and attributes, worshipped in various forms across Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian cultures. The earliest references to the Anunnaki appear in Sumerian texts, particularly those found in the ancient city of Nippur. In the Sumerian cosmology, the Anunnaki were often believed to be the children of Anu, the supreme god of the sky. Anu was the highest deity in the Sumerian pantheon, a distant and powerful figure who ruled over all the gods and goddesses. His domain was the heavens, and his will shaped the course of the universe. The Anunnaki, as his offspring, were his agents on earth, gods who managed everything from the weather to human fate, as well as the very balance of nature. While Anu reigned over the heavens, his children were often depicted as more directly involved in earthly affairs. For example, Enlil, the god of air and storms, became one of the most important figures in Sumerian religious practice. His power over the elements made him an essential deity for agricultural societies that depended on seasonal weather patterns. Enki, another prominent member of the Anunnaki, was the god of water and wisdom, who was often associated with fertility and creation. The Anunnaki were often worshipped in the cities of Mesopotamia, especially Nippur, where the god Enlil was particularly revered. They were believed to reside in grand temples, massive ziggurats, where offerings and sacrifices were made to secure the god's favor. These divine beings were not just distant figures in the sky. They were thought to be present in the daily lives of the Sumerians, guiding kings and commoners alike. The mythology surrounding the Anunnaki also includes the famous Epic of Gilgamesh, where the gods intervene in the hero's journey, and the story of the descent of Inanna, which shows the complex interactions between the Anunnaki and the underworld. One of the most fascinating aspects of Anunnaki mythology is the theory that these gods were responsible for the creation of humanity. In one of the most important Sumerian texts, the Enki and Ninmah myth, the gods are depicted as having created human beings from clay. But there's a catch. According to this myth, the gods did not create humanity out of love or for their own amusement. Instead, they created humans to perform labor, particularly the hard work of tending to the earth and farming, which the gods themselves found tedious. The idea that the gods were using humans for their own purposes permeated Sumerian mythology. According to some versions of the myth, Enki, who is often depicted as a benevolent god, took pity on humanity and attempted to grant them wisdom and knowledge, often intervening on their behalf. This version of the creation myth has inspired theories about the Anunnaki's role in shaping human history. The Sumerians' idea of the Anunnaki as creators of humankind led to a fascinating interpretation in modern conspiracy theories. Some have suggested that the Anunnaki did not just create humans from clay, but genetically engineered humanity as a slave species to mine gold, a theory that will be explored later in this video. The Anunnaki's role as creators has been the subject of much debate, fueling the idea that human civilization owes its origins to these divine beings. In recent decades, the Anunnaki have become central figures in the popular ancient astronaut theory. This theory suggests that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in ancient times, and that the Anunnaki were these beings who interacted with humanity. According to proponents of this theory, the Anunnaki's supposed genetic manipulation of early humans may have been an experiment by advanced alien civilizations. The theory goes further to suggest that the Anunnaki were responsible for the sudden leap in technological and cultural advancements that occurred in the ancient world. From the Sumerians' mastery of irrigation, mathematics, and architecture, to their apparent understanding of astronomy, ancient astronaut theorists believe the Anunnaki were responsible for imparting knowledge to humanity, perhaps as a means of controlling or guiding their development. One of the most popular proponents of this theory was Zecharia Sitchin, whose 1976 book, The 12th Planet, posited that the Anunnaki came from a mysterious, undiscovered planet in our solar system called Nibiru. According to Sitchin, Nibiru is on a long elliptical orbit that brings it into the inner solar system once every 3,600 years. The Anunnaki, he argued, came from this planet, and their arrival on Earth had a profound impact on ancient cultures. However, it's important to note that this theory is highly controversial and widely dismissed by mainstream scholars. Critics argue that Sitchin's translations of ancient texts are flawed, and that his interpretations of Sumerian myths are speculative at best. Nevertheless, the idea that the Anunnaki were extraterrestrial visitors continues to captivate those who believe in ancient alien influence. In Sumerian society, the Anunnaki were not just abstract concepts, they were central to the daily life of the people. The relationship between the gods and the humans was one of reciprocal service. The people of Mesopotamia believed they were obligated to care for the gods by offering food, sacrifices, and maintaining their temples. In return, the gods were expected to provide for them, granting fertility to the crops, protection from natural disasters, and guidance in times of war. Temples, or ziggurats, were constructed as massive shrines to the Anunnaki, where priests performed rituals and made offerings to the gods. These priests were intermediaries between the divine and human worlds, ensuring that the Anunnaki's favor would continue. The Anunnaki were also integral to the Sumerian concept of kingship. Kings were believed to be divinely chosen by the Anunnaki to rule on their behalf, a belief that reinforced the legitimacy of the ruler's power. This divine mandate created a strong connection between religion and governance, ensuring that the king's actions aligned with the will of the gods. The Anunnaki remain one of the most fascinating and mysterious aspects of ancient history. Whether viewed as gods, extraterrestrials, or metaphors for celestial forces, their presence in the myths and legends of ancient Mesopotamia left an indelible mark on human civilization. Their influence spread throughout the ancient world, from the Sumerians to the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians, and continues to be felt in modern popular culture, religion, and even conspiracy theories. Were the Anunnaki gods who created humanity and shaped the ancient world, or were they something else entirely?